In this lesson, we are going to be talking about how to evaluate web searches and determine the reliability of information that we find on the internet. So, some of that means using appropriate tools and methods to execute internet searches that yield the requested data, perform searches and explain how to refine searches to retrieve better information, identify resources for finding information, in addition for ranking-based search engines, differentiate between ranking-based search engines and social bookmarking or collaborative search engines, define and give examples of Web 2.0 applications, and develop and use a rubric to evaluate the reliability of websites. So the first thing that we're going to do is watch this short video that was developed by a team at YouTube. So here we go.
Detecting lies and staying true. Media literacy and cyber citizenship. Part 1. Detecting lies. Having the internet at your fingertips means you can find just about any kind of information online, from history lessons and celebrity news to gross jokes and silly pictures. Just because information shows up online doesn't mean it's true. Follow these 3 easy guidelines to learn more about what information you can and can't trust online. Be a skeptic. Don't be fooled by cool or professional websites. Ask yourself, what's the point of view of the site? What are they trying to get me to believe? What opinions or ideas are missing? Investigate the source. Click on the About Us or similar links on the page. Find out who publishes the information. If it's a reliable source like a university, the information is more likely to be accurate. Follow the rule of 3. Act like a detective and compare 3 sources of information before you reach a conclusion about what's true. Remember, be especially careful about using facts you find online in your homework without checking them out first. Part 2. Staying true. Whether you're on the web or off, the rules of good citizenship still apply. A simple rule: if you wouldn't do it offline, don't do it online. Don't steal. Just because material is published online doesn't mean it's yours for the taking. If you use it, say so. Reporting inappropriate content isn't ratting. It's keeping the web safe. When you make rude comments online, you're inviting other people to be mean to you. Try kindness or silence instead. You'll have more fun. Think about it. Whatever you post online sticks with you like a tattoo. Except you can't erase it or control where it goes. Do you really want to have to explain those photos to a future employer? Let's review. Check out at least 3 sources of information before you decide what's true. Be a member of the community online and off. Don't bully, steal, or cheat, and report those who do. Protect yourself now and in the future. Think before you post. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more tips from the YouTube team.
All right. So,
chasing that A and want to save time on proofreading?
okay. So, what we're going to do, we've got a couple of different activities that we're going to do to help us get our point across. The first one is going to be this fact-checking activity, and this is going to be on a Google Doc. And so what you're going to do is you're going to find 3 web sources that contradict each of these true facts. You're going to save the URL for each website you find and explain in your notes how the information was false or misleading. Take note of any distinguishing features of the web source. So whatever you see on the website. Okay, I'm going to do this first one with you. So we are saying Cleopatra was of Macedonian, not Egyptian descent. So one approach you can take is to just copy that and then paste it in a Google search. Okay, and then we can see whatever we see. Okay, so the very first one, which I know that's what people look at that comes up first, okay? This is from history.com, 10 little known facts about Cleopatra. And so if I were to use this, I'm going to let it finish loading. And then I'm going to copy that URL and I'm going to put it right here. Okay. Notes. So it helps that this is history.com because history.com is considered to be a reliable source. Okay. It says right here, Evan Andrews is the author. So I'm going to put that in my notes. Okay. Something else that I noticed immediately is that this was updated August 10th, 2021. So the original one was posted. I'm just going to copy this, okay? Copy it, and then I'm going to paste it over here in my document. Okay, so one thing that is very telling of a reliable source is that it is updated. If you have old information, it might not be accurate anymore. Okay, so Cleopatra was not Egyptian. Now, just because History.com says Cleopatra was not Egyptian does not mean she was not Egyptian. Okay, so we need to find out where this guy got this information from. Okay, well, right here, History.com says, we strive for accuracy and fairness, but if you see something that doesn't look right, click here to contact us. They review and update content regularly to ensure it is complete and accurate. So, I'm really curious about whether or not, what they had wrong originally. Now, you can see that History.com is run by A&E Television. All right, so they have corporate information here, terms of use, frequently asked questions, that kind of stuff. Okay. So we don't exactly know where he got this information from because his sources are not stated. So that's kind of like a red flag. If somebody is putting information out there without providing where they got it from, it can be a red flag, but not always. So if the president tells me his birthday, I don't need to know the source. I don't need to see a birth certificate, okay? I got it from, there's a saying that says, straight from the horse's mouth. All right. So, let's see. Cleopatra was of Macedonian, not Egyptian descent. Okay, and so in your notes, you should explain how the information was false or misleading. Okay, so I'm going to move this stuff that I put here to distinguishing features. Okay, and now let me go back. So, false or misleading. She was born in Egypt. Okay, that makes her Egyptian. But she traced her family origins to Macedonian Greece and Ptolemy I Soter. Don't know how to say that. Okay, so that's one of Alexander the Great's generals. He reigned in Egypt. So, although she was not ethnically Egyptian, She embraced many of Egypt's ancient customs and was the first member of that line to learn the Egyptian language. So, I would say, under my notes from this source, she was born in Egypt, but was able to trace her ancestry to Macedonia. All right, our next URL. So I'm just going to go back to where that was, and I'm going to go back to that Google search. And I'm actually, okay, Cleopatra race controversy. So this is from Wikipedia. I'm going to go ahead and put that URL right here. Okay? All right, so you have to kind of read through. Scholars identify Cleopatra as having been essentially of Greek ancestry with some Persian and Iranian ancestry based on the fact that her Macedonian Greek family had intermarried with this dynasty. All right, now this is going to be a lot of what we would use, and they are citing sources constantly. So it used to be that Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, was not a very trustworthy source. And if you go to write a research paper or an essay and you use Wikipedia as a source, more than likely your teacher is not going to be very happy about that, because anyone can go into Wikipedia and make changes. Okay, but see, there's an edit button. This is a collaborative website. You can go in and edit things. All right, you do have to have an account, but it's free to make an account. So it's not always reliable. But the thing is, whenever they are giving their sources, you can go find that source and you can find where they got that information from. Okay, so technically, Wikipedia would not be your source. This book or this article from Oxford Scholarship Online an almost all Greek thing, this would be your source. All right, but you would have to actually go use that source. You can't just say, oh, it was listed as a source on Wikipedia. You have to actually go find that source, okay? So, I would say Greek ancestry. And we're noting that Wikipedia is editable. All right. Now that you kind of see, so we could also talk about the font. These fonts, there's nothing questionable about these fonts, okay? Things that you want to keep in mind. If you come across a website that uses Comic Sans, this font, don't trust it, okay? Unless it's literally made for kindergartners. Don't trust anything. I mean, you could trust some things. It's probably written by like a kindergarten teacher or someone who is really bad at picking fonts. You know, that's okay. They didn't learn that in college. I did. Okay, your other one that you want to look out for, if you find a website written in this font, you know, like the Prince of Egypt font, be skeptical. Okay, it is perfectly fine to be skeptical. So, going back to our fact checking, whenever we Googled this topic right here, we said Cleopatra was of Macedonian. Okay, so let's refine our search. Okay, just going to type in Cleopatra, and I'm going to say heritage. All right, we're getting history.com again. We're getting Wikipedia again. Britannica. Britannica is an encyclopedia. So Britannica, you know, before the internet, they made books called encyclopedias. Britannica was one of the main makers of said books. Okay, you might be able to find an antique copy in the library. I don't know. So, Britannica would be a good source. And it gives you this information. But let me tell you, do you see anywhere on this website Comic Sans or papyrus? No, you don't. You sure don't. Okay. So pause the video here so you can go ahead and finish the rest of these. And then you can submit this as a PDF by saying File, Download, PDF. You just finished that assignment and you submitted it. Okay, let me show you what the tools on Google do. Okay, so if you click Tools, you can search for a time when something was written. You can search all results or verbatim. Verbatim means like literally word for word. Okay. You can search maps, books, flights, finance, videos, news. Okay. So let's see. News. All right. This will be a really good example. So, you know, back in the day, they didn't have cameras, right? So this is not a picture of Cleopatra. It's not. It's a picture of someone dressed as Cleopatra, yeah? This is not a picture of Cleopatra. All right. This is a painting. Could have been a painting of Cleopatra. Like, the artist literally could have been there. All right. So you just got to keep that kind of stuff in mind. Now, whenever you look at tools, you have usage. When you have images selected, you have a size photo, the color that you're looking for, the type of photo, if I wanted a GIF or a line drawing or a clip art or whatever. Again, you have time, and then you have usage rights. And we will talk about usage rights shortly. Okay, so let's look at news. Sorted by relevance or by date, recent or in the archives. Those are all options. So I want you to look at this, okay? in case no one has ever showed this to you, I'm not going to be the one to say, I didn't teach you this. All right. This is Google Scholar. Google Scholar is Google, but with scholarly articles. What is a scholarly article? It is an article that has been written and peer-reviewed. So, here I will type in Cleopatra biography. I like that option. Now, I'm getting books. Okay, used to be that it was literally an option where the same you had news and images and stuff. Scholar was also an option, but I guess not anymore. Okay, you have books and books and books. Okay. Oh, whoa. JSTOR. Okay. JSTOR is a good one because it is a database of peer-reviewed articles and research. So that's a good one. But we're not going to look at it because my internet stinks. Include citations. So you see how you have the option to cite it here? So let's click on that. As a high schooler, you use MLA. Okay, done. All right. In college, you'll use APA. Why? No idea. All right. I've never been in a situation where anybody uses these, so. But it cites it for you. So that's good to know. All right. So this is a resource. The next thing that we're going to look at is the next thing we're going to look at is something that I made. Again, it's in Google Sheets because Google Sheets is actually the bomb, in case you didn't know that, okay? So this is a website evaluation rubric. It is a rubric for you to help you determine if a website is reliable or not. So what you're going to do in this activity, you're going to make a copy of this, okay? And then we are going to find the website. I will give you the website, okay? You have tabs at the bottom. If you are in the Sheets app on the iPad, you don't see these tabs. So you'll need to go into Safari and go to sheets.google.com. And if you have trouble opening a Sheets document on your iPad because it automatically opens it inside Sheets, you need to Google how to open Sheets, Google Sheets in the browser on an iPad. Okay. So let's look at the criteria. The authority. Is the author identified? Does the author have appropriate qualifications with respect to the information being presented? So I, for example, would be a reliable source for computer programming knowledge. I will more than likely direct you to the internet, but I do have a few credentials that say that I'm qualified to present information, okay, regarding computer science, all right, not just in general, okay. If I am talking about rare animal diseases? No. All right. There is nothing that says I'm qualified to talk about rare animal diseases, even if I read something on the internet. Okay? Because that doesn't make it true. Purpose. Is the purpose to inform or give factual information? Think about that. If you're reading something and the tone of this article is angry, they are not trying to inform. They are ranting. That's a little different, okay? Is the information primary or secondary in nature? What does that mean? So, primary source versus secondary source. Hey, you know what? Let's Google it. Define primary source. A primary source, according to the Google, is... Let's look at it. Okay, this is from LibGuides. This is a library guide. Gives you a research. What is the meaning for primary source? Where does this come from? This is coming from Louisville, University of Louisville. Okay, it's an original object or document. So my birth certificate, that is a primary source. Okay. Asking my husband what my birthday is not a primary source. It's a secondary source. Okay. So keep that in mind. Is the information presented comparable or comparable to information on the same topic presented by other sites? This is when you have to go look at 2 or 3 different websites about the same topic, okay? Are they all saying the same thing? Because then it might be true, okay? Is the information free of factual errors? Does it say that New Year's Day in America is March 3rd? Because that's not true, right? So we're not using that source. For whatever the reason we looked up, it doesn't matter because it says something that is 100% not true. Do the conclusions appear to be well reasoned and supported by the facts presented? All right, these are things you have to think about. Is the information properly referenced? So that history.com article, he did not reference. No. Okay. So that's okay. You'll check it off as you see it. Okay. Objectivity. So objectivity is the ability to just give information without putting in opinions. So is the information free from obvious bias? So if you were to ask my husband about the team that just won the College World Series, 2022, okay, you're not going to get objective information, okay, because he is all about the team that won the College World Series in 2021. Okay, so, all right. Does the author avoid the use of emotional or inflammatory language? Again, are they ranting? Because that's not objective. If they are feeling this emotion and they can't just present the facts, that's not objective. Does the author avoid trying to sell something or persuade the reader of a particular viewpoint? If they're trying to persuade you that one team is better than the other team, just because that one team won the College World Series first, or that other team won the College World Series most recently, even though it's just a year difference, okay, that's not objective. What would be objective is showing stats, showing game stats, showing player stats, showing recruitment stats, information like data, numbers, that's objective. Okay. You cannot, well, okay, I take it. Sometimes data can be biased, but we're not going to get into that right now. Is the information up to date? Again, History.com, they had updated their information, although I'm not exactly sure why they would need to because it happened so long ago. Like maybe historians found something new. I don't know. Are there creation and revision dates? That's important. Okay, if you don't know when it was written, you can't trust it. All right. Does the site have a professional appearance? This is where those fonts come in, okay? Does it use proper grammar, spelling, and composition? I do not trust a website that that has typos, okay? I don't trust it. Does the site attend to accessibility for people with disabilities? This is an important aspect, okay? Because this was written 7 days ago, and again, it's for umb.libguides. So this is University of Massachusetts at Boston. Does it have accessibility features? Let's look at websites that do have websites with accessibility features. And I want them both, features and issues. Okay, examples of accessible websites. If they are taking the time to make their website accessible, that is going to be a green flag. Okay. So these are all like tourism, visually impaired. Okay, so this is going to be someone who is possibly blind or has no, that is possible, okay, or has very poor eyesight. And why do I say that it's possible if they are blind? Okay, so the internet, some browsers can read, and you can set up browsers to read information to you. So it's not impossible for a visually impaired or blind person to search for information on the internet. Okay, so this is a visually impaired profile. This is what it looks like. This is before. This is for someone not visually impaired. Okay, this is for after. All right, they have these features that you can turn them on. This profile changes the font of the web page to a more standardized type for easier readability. See, this is not, okay, it's just a slightly different font. You see how the L curls here? It does not curl here. And that can be important for someone who's visually impaired. Also note how the text expanded to cover the whole orientation of the screen. So you no longer have this empty space over here on the side. It's making the text bigger and it's spreading it out. And so that's going to be helpful. Okay. And then again, you have accessibility features. This is... All right, this is an ADHD-friendly profile. So if you are easily distracted, you can turn on an ADHD-friendly profile, and when it is enabled, a highlight bar appears on the page that allows visitors to focus more easily on the essential elements on the website. And so that is helpful. Those are accessible website features. So yes, we're going to click yes. Now I just want to show you some of these things. You're going to paste the link to the website up here, okay? But I just want to kind of show you kind of how this works. We are saying yes. I don't know. Actually, that would be a yes. Okay. We don't want more than one clicked. So, well, you don't want yes and no clicked. You can have yes or unsure or no or unsure. And then it's going to tell you at the very bottom, is the website reliable? So, and it's because I use this formula. That's why Google Sheets is so awesome. You're going to choose 3 websites, and that's what you're going to do for this website evaluation assignment. So you can go ahead and pause the video here and have fun with that.